the game.
Hey there, I'm Kelsey Dickey. What started as helping people with their money at my dining room table grew into a 7-figure financial coaching practice. Now I teach others how to build a thriving coaching business of their own. Whether you're just starting out or you've been coaching for years, I'm here to help you make a bigger impact while doing what you love. This is the Financial Coach Academy podcast. Let's dive in. Are you ready to transform your passion for helping others with money into a thriving coaching business? The Financial Coach Academy's next cohort launches today, and this is your chance to join. If you are listening to this episode on the day it airs, you can enroll and join the current cohort. Maybe it's a sign to not overthink this decision any longer. The next cohort starts August 7th, so between now and then, you can enroll in the Academy and get started by accessing the lessons so you're even more prepared when your cohort officially kicks off on August 7th. In the Academy, you'll get lifetime access to more than 30 in-depth lessons, 165 ready-to-use templates, and 12 months of live coaching calls. Plus, you'll join a dedicated cohort of fellow coaches for 6 months of accountability and support. Our graduates launch successful businesses while creating client transformations that build confidence and generate impressive results and endless referrals. Don't build your business alone. Visit financialcoachacademy.com today and before the next cohort fills up. I want to start with a review from Coach Becca B. Coach Becca says, if it says by Kelsey Dickey, Financial Coach Academy, or Fiscal Fitness Phoenix, I am like Fry from Futurama in the meme of shut up and take my money. All the content they put out, free or paid, has been immensely helpful, actionable, compelling, thought-provoking, and valuable. Seriously, I have a notebook dedicated to just this podcast with notes and quotes. This is the only podcast I am caught up to date on. Also, one I have revisited episodes as I find myself in one of the situations she has covered. Thursday is my Listen to Kelsey day. I have listened to lots of personal finance podcasts, but having this one specific for coaching is a game changer. Coach or not, Kelsey has you believing you are one and welcomes you with a seat at her table. Seriously, each episode is like a goldmine of nuggets that honestly can be applied to other coaching disciplines too. When she includes materials like the growth guide, the client journey roadmap, or coaching method summaries, those tools are super beneficial. Her Facebook group, Financial Coaches Unite, has great guides. Kelsey and her team on the regular answer questions, giving recommendations, and even tagging other coaches. It is a super helpful group for any coach, whether they are just thinking about becoming a coach or are established already. So if I could rate it as higher than 5 stars, I would. I can tell you I have put my money where my mouth is, and I have invested in a lot of her products and services, including being financially coached by them. I have experienced positive change, and I have through learning from her, been able to do the same for others. So yeah, here is a review from a Kelsey FCA superfan. That review made me laugh. You are so creative. I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time to leave it, for being a listener, for being a patron, all sorts of things. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To everybody else, welcome to today's episode of the Financial Coach Academy podcast, where we tackle the real challenges of building a successful coaching business. I'm your host, and today we're going to dive into something deeply important: finding your authentic voice and being yourself as a financial coach. I want to start by saying I'm incredibly grateful for everyone who follows along here, whether on the podcast app or YouTube and on social media, and I'm thrilled to have inspired many to become financial coaches. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've found what works for me and the people I serve. And today, and always, I want to help you do the same. And I want to say something that I've said many times. What exactly works for me, my business, my life, my way of working and talking to my audience, probably won't work exactly that same way for you too. It is so important to find your own voice and do you in your business. We'll explore why authenticity matters, where the line is between inspiration and imitation, and practical strategies to develop your unique voice. By the end of our time together today, you'll have a clearer understanding of how to show up as yourself in your business, which is truly your greatest asset as a coach. One of the most common compliments I receive when meeting people in person for the first time is, you are exactly who you are in real life as you are in your emails and on your podcast. They also oftentimes tell me that I am shorter than what they thought. But they also tell me, like I said, that I'm exactly who I am in real life as I am on the podcast, as I am in my emails and that sort of thing. And that is such huge validation for me, and it reminds me that how I interact with others in my business is aligned with my values and who I am as a person. We should all want this. This alignment between who I am online and in person is something I take pride in, and it's something your clients will notice too. When you try to sound like someone else or use strategies that aren't aligned with your own beliefs and style, a disconnect happens. Think about this from your client's perspective. They sign up to work with the person they connected with through your content, only to discover someone different in your sessions. This creates confusion and erodes trust, which is the foundation of the coaching relationship. It's about integrity and effectiveness. And heck, about ease of communication for you too. Can you imagine how difficult it would be to always be wearing someone else's hat? No, thank you. Your unique perspective, experiences, and communication style are what will help you connect with your ideal clients. These client relationships tend to be stronger, last longer, and lead to better outcomes and more referrals. Remember, your clients don't expect you to know everything or never be inspired by others. They expect you to be real. There's a line between being inspired by someone else's content and straight out copying it. This isn't a new conversation. It's been happening for years and will continue to happen for years, but it's worth addressing openly. I don't see enough people openly talking about this, which is why I wanted to. As someone who is proudly inspired by others' work and loves to give them credit, and as someone who has had my words swiped from me and my methods and creations claimed by others as their own creations, I think it's important to talk about it in an honest, vulnerable, and transparent way. So let's talk about what crosses the line. Simply changing sentence structure or swapping synonyms while keeping the essence the same isn't enough. Using someone else's content as part of your system for creating your own isn't ethical, especially if it's happening without attribution. Monitoring what others post and then creating nearly identical content weeks later shows a lack of originality. Copying design elements, unique phrases, or content structures without adding your own perspective crosses the line. And using AI to rewrite someone else's content and telling it to make it sound like you without adding any unique thoughts is not okay. These approaches might seem like shortcuts, but they're actually harmful to your business in the long run. They prevent you from developing your own voice and connecting with your audience. They create a facade that's difficult to maintain consistently across all touch points with your clients. A helpful question to ask yourself: if the roles were reversed, would I be comfortable with how this person has changed my content? If there's any doubt, the simplest solution is to give credit, which we'll talk about next. I have been reflecting on this over this past year especially, and I've been thinking a lot about what I call the lost art of attribution. There used to be blog circles where content creators would openly build on each other's ideas. Here's how it used to work. Someone would write an article that sparked a thought for someone else, who would then write their own piece with a different perspective. But they would openly acknowledge where the inspiration came from, linking back to the original content. This was a regular form of content sharing before social media was invented. The best part of these blog circles, they created well-rounded conversations about topics, adding nuance and different viewpoints. A person would read your article, then apply it to their life or reflect on it themselves. Then they would write their own blog article linking to yours and sharing how they applied it, but maybe they added an extra step to the end or they gained a different result from it. Somewhere along the way, though, we've lost this practice of attribution. Some mistakenly believe you only give credit when directly quoting someone, and some even skip that step. But attribution is about more than avoiding plagiarism. It's about honoring the ecosystem of ideas. And giving credit doesn't diminish your authority, coach. It actually enhances it. It shows you're engaged with your field, continuously learning, and humble enough to acknowledge others. Your clients don't expect you to generate every idea in isolation. In fact, they appreciate knowing you're connected to the broader conversation in the financial coaching world. You might have heard about the famous thought leader, I'm going to put that in quotes, who just dropped a book recently that basically was lifted from another writer's poem. They mentioned the connection once years ago, but in the actual book itself, nothing. Not a word about the original poet. I think that's pretty lousy. This book will probably sell millions, just like all their other stuff, while the actual poet gets zero credit. It definitely left me with a bad taste about this so-called thought leader's integrity. So, how do you develop your own authentic voice while still learning from others? Let me share some practical strategies. First, start by being realistic. For some, this isn't a natural skill you just have in business. It might take time to cultivate it. You might have to work at it. It is worth it, coach. Start by getting clear on your unique perspective. What experiences, values, and beliefs shape how you view money and coaching? What client populations do you serve best? What problems are you particularly passionate about solving? Rather than starting with other people's content, start with conversations you've had with real clients or with friends and family. And if you don't have real conversations, then we have actually pinpointed where the problem is. You've got to start there. What questions do these people ask repeatedly? What breakthroughs have you witnessed? What struggles do you see them facing? Look into your own personal money journey next. The mistakes, the lessons, the turning points that you've had. Reflect on these. Become more intimately aware of what you yourself have experienced. Your vulnerability creates connection in a way that polished, generic content never will. Next, develop systems for capturing your own ideas when they arise. Keep notes of client conversations, questions that come up in sessions, and your own financial insights. And before creating content that was inspired by someone else, ask yourself, what unique perspective can I add to this conversation? What have I learned that others might not yet know? Your voice will naturally develop over time as you continue to show up authentically. Remember, it's better to publish less content that truly represents you than more content that sounds like everyone else. Quality over quantity. Now, I've already said that it's important to learn from others, but how you consume content matters. So let's talk about consuming content mindfully. If you follow other coaches, be intentional about how and when you consume their content. Have their emails go into a specific folder and set specific times to read them. Coach yourself into the right mindset before reading. Remind yourself you're looking for inspiration, not imitation. Ask yourself reflection questions after consuming. What resonated with me and why? How does this connect to my own experience or perspective? What would I add to this conversation? Consider taking a content consumption fast if you're really feeling overwhelmed or finding it difficult to separate your voice from others. I've shared very openly that I had to do that for about 3 months over one summer. The most distinctive coaches often consume less content from their direct competitors and find others outside the industry to inspire them. Psychology, behavioral economics, leadership development, for example. This cross-pollination of ideas helps you develop connections and insights that are uniquely yours. And of course, give credit where it's due always. In the Financial Coach Academy, we actively share our frameworks and methodologies, but we show coaches exactly how to give proper attribution. Coaches, you can find that resource in FCA titled FCA Attribution Phrasing Guidelines. Your work might be inspired by others, but they're filtered through your unique experiences and perspective. Authenticity is also a key ingredient to building a sustainable business. Copying content might seem like a shortcut, but it's actually harmful to your long-term success, coach. Like we've already talked about, it creates a fragile foundation for your business that is difficult to maintain. Clients can sense when you're not being authentic, even if they can't quite put their finger on why something feels off. Building on someone else's voice means you're always one step behind, always reacting rather than creating. When you develop your own authentic voice, content creation becomes easier and more enjoyable. You're drawing from your own well of experience rather than trying to sound like someone else. This authenticity creates a stronger connection with your audience. People hire financial coaches not just for their knowledge, but for their approach, personality, and perspective. They want somebody who they feel they can resonate with. Your unique voice becomes a significant part of your brand differentiator. Where it might feel like everyone around you is a financial coach, authenticity helps you stand out more than any marketing tactic I can give you. Proper attribution and collaboration, over copying and competition is also best for the success and sustainability of our profession. And I care about this profession. All of us financial coaches contribute to how our industry is perceived. Having high standards on how we treat our clients, but also how we treat each other matters. So here are some reminders for content creation. Start with client conversations. What questions are they asking? What challenges are they facing? Draw from your own personal experience. What money lessons have you learned that could help others? Consider your unique perspective. How does your background, values, and beliefs shape your approach to finances? Use your own voice. Write how you speak with your natural rhythm and vocabulary. If something inspires you, add your own twist, but apply it to a different situation. Combine it with another idea or expand on it in a new direction. When in doubt, give credit. It's not a weakness, but a strength to acknowledge your influences in your personal and professional growth. Remember that your journey of finding your voice is ongoing. It will continue to evolve as you grow as a business owner and thought leader. Be patient with yourself, coach. Authentic content might take longer to create at first, but it becomes easier and actually faster over time. Trust that your unique perspective is valuable. There are clients who need exactly your approach to financial coaching. To wrap things up, your authentic voice, coach, is your greatest asset as a financial professional. It's what will attract the right clients and create meaningful transformation. Remember, the most powerful connections happen when you show up as yourself, not as a version of someone else. You are giving your clients permission to show up as themselves when you do this. If you are struggling to find your voice or create authentic content, Financial Coach Academy can help. And I also want to encourage you to take that break from social media and consumption of content. We provide frameworks, community, and personalized guidance to help you develop confidence in your unique approach. You can visit financialcoachacademy.com to learn more about how we support coaches in building businesses that reflect your authentic selves. Thanks for listening, and remember, in a world where content is everywhere, your authentic voice is your true differentiator. I'll see you next time. I'd love to have you join in the conversation on this topic. If you're watching on YouTube, please leave your thoughts in the comments. And you can also join us in Financial Coaches Unite, our free Facebook group, to share your thoughts on this episode. Next week, we'll be talking about controlling your client's journey and why this is something we actually want to avoid. Remember, coaching is about the client, not the coach. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. See you next week. That's all for today. If you're ready to grow your own financial coaching business, head over to financialcoachacademy.com for helpful resources and tools. If this episode helped you, hit subscribe and leave us a review. I'll see you next week.